Hello there, friends, and welcome back to my Practically Imperfect Life. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to my channel. My name's Abby. I'm a homeschooling mom of 2 high schoolers, and here on my channel, I share about all things homeschooling and mom life and gardening. So if you enjoy those types of videos, consider subscribing down below so you can follow along with our homeschooling through high school journey. Now, today I wanted to talk about narration, particularly how we utilize it in the upper years, in those middle school and high school years. Narration is a term that many homeschoolers may have heard about, but not utilized before in their homeschool, or maybe you've heard the term, but you're not quite sure what it means. And it is a method of kind of evaluating your students' learning or having them tell you what it is that they're learning. You can do oral narrations where a student talks to you and tells you about the things that they've learned or understood, or you can do written narration where they are writing those things down. It can be something that is done freestyle or with writing prompts. There's really so many different ways that you can utilize it in your homeschool. Now, in our homeschool, really started using narration more as we introduced some curriculum that didn't have a traditional way of grading. There weren't tests, there weren't quizzes. There might be workbook pages and reading assignments and hands-on projects, but I needed a little bit more. I needed a way to really evaluate how they were doing in that course so I could feel good about the grade I was assigning and putting on their transcript. And I thought to myself, well, this would be a perfect opportunity to reintroduce narration journals with my students. Now, there are lots of different ways that you can assign narration or narration journals to your students. The simplest way would be to just simply give them free rein. Say, hey, I would like you to write half a page or a page telling me about what it is you learned today. Tell me about things you learned from books you read, or maybe a documentary that you watched or a project that you did. Just tell me about it. And that is totally okay. And in fact, we did that on the majority of our days in our narration assignments, where they simply had to just kind of tell me what it is that they found interesting about what they were learning, or what were some key things that you felt were important from today's learning. Really, it was just a way for me to see, like, hey, we did the reading, we watched the videos, we were absorbing information. These were the things that really stuck with us. You could also give some more directed assignments. Maybe you want them to give you a brief summary about a book that they're reading, or you want them to do a compare contrast about 2 different things were a part of the learning for that day. Maybe you want to get some opinions from them on their thoughts on a reading assignment or an issue that was being discussed in the curriculum. I mean, there's really so many different writing prompts you could give them. So we kind of did a mix and match with our narration assignments. So my son was doing a cultural geography course. So he's obviously learning about many different cultures in many different countries. He was doing a mix of nonfiction and fiction books. There were a lot of novels that had to do with the places that he was reading about. My daughter was doing botany, and same thing. She had kind of an interesting mix of books and documentaries. So their assignments looked a little bit different. Most days, my son, again, had kind of free rein, where I just wanted him to tell me back about what it is he learned. What were the things that really, stuck with him? But there were times when I did give him some more directed assignments, and I just put those in there, like, hey, you're reading this novel over the course of the week. I would like you to give me a brief summary of it, like a 1 or 2 paragraph summary in your narration journal, and then tell me what you thought of the book, or what did it bring to mind. We also did the same thing, like if we watched a particular movie related to a country he was studying. What was your thought on that movie? What did you learn from it? Who was, the main character? What was the struggle they went through? So again, just getting him thinking a little bit more about those things he was watching or reading, and then expressing that in his narration journal. My daughter was giving me mostly facts about things that she read. I mean, she's reading about all different kinds of plants and how they work and how they grow, issues that are, facing the environment. And then she was even learning how to do a little bit of art related to that. She had one book called Draw Like an Artist, and it taught you how to draw like a whole bunch of different flowers and plants. And so part of her assignment would be a couple days a week to sketch a plant in her narration notebook and then write notes around it about what she was learning. So she has like a whole book filled out with all different kinds of sketches and drawings and interesting facts. And it's a beautiful little work of art. I love how her book turned out. And we're definitely going to put that one back with school projects to save for the future. So again, you can really assign it in any different way. As far as how much to assign, that is up to you and, your student's age and what it is that they're studying. You could assign a page a day. You could assign a certain number of paragraphs a day. Maybe you want a certain number of pages over the course of the week. You can really customize it to your student and to the subjects that they are doing. What can you use for narration notebooks? Well, I mean, it's anything that has paper. So we've used spiral bound books before. We have some larger ones that we've used in the past. This year we used a lot of these. These were just like little, how big are these? 6 by 9 inch sketchbooks, and they worked out perfectly. If your student does better with like lined paper, you can also get small notebooks that are lined. I mean, lots of different ways that you can do narration notebooks. So, and again, you can also do oral narration. So if you have a student who maybe struggles with writing and with word processing and things like that, you could do oral narration. Just sit down with them and have a discussion. Ask them some prompts and see what it is they can tell you about the things that they learned. Now, as far as how to grade narration books, there are lots of different ways that you could grade it. Maybe you just want to give a grade for completion. Show me that you've got the page filled out, great, get a grade for that, and we're good to go. Or maybe you want to go through it and analyze it a little bit more closely. In my homeschool, my number one thing was that whatever they write in their book, it has to be in complete sentences, and they do need to use proper grammar. I mean, they are both in high school at this point. That should not be an issue. So that was my first guideline for them there. My second one was that if I assigned them a certain number of paragraphs, about a topic or to answer a question, I did expect to see proper paragraphs, not just everything jumbled into one, not multiple ideas being combined into one paragraph. I wanted them to, use what they've learned from grammar and writing and apply it to this case. And then other than that, I was looking for a sign that they really did do the readings and the studying and the project that they were supposed to do for that day. Were they giving me a good number of facts from the things that I know that I assigned? Were they thoroughly answering the question that I assigned? And so, yes, it is a little bit of my opinion on how well they did, but I felt like I was looking at things, fairly for both of them and giving them grades based on, the quality of work and the time that they put into this. Now, for those two courses that I was talking about, the botany course and the geography course, this actually made up almost half of their grade because, again, there were no tests or quizzes. They had some workbook pages and hands-on projects, but this was like the meat and potatoes. This really showed me what it is that they were paying attention to and learning and absorbing in these courses. And I felt like it's been a really good reflection of, just how much they have been learning over the course of the year. Now, as far as which type of courses and curriculums you can use narration and narration notebooks with, I mean, really, you can use it with any of them. Most of my experience has been with incorporating it with literature-based curriculum where we've got, lots of different sources we're digging into, and I want to see what it is they're picking up from all of those different sources. It's also been a really good tool to add on to unit studies where I'm creating the unit study and pulling together lots of different resources. And I need a way of, again, kind of evaluating how they're doing and what it is that they are learning. So really adaptable for lots of different ways. And lastly, let me talk about the benefits of narration and narration notebooks, because I really feel like anything we're going to add into our homeschool or assign to our students should be something that we're going to see a benefit to them from. So first of all, it's a great practice of grammar and writing skills. I mean, the more that you're doing those kinds of things, the better you're going to get at them. And it's a really easy way to encourage practice of those skills. The second thing is that it encourages teach back. Now, I'm a nurse, and one of the things that I do almost every single day when I'm working is teach back with patients. I teach a skill or I give information, and then I want them to either show it back to me or tell me about it, so I can see what it is that they've absorbed and learned and what are the things that really stuck with them. And narration journals to me are teach back for my homeschool. When my kids have to explain to me what it is that they are learning about, it really gets them thinking about those subjects. They might be in the middle of writing a sentence and say, oh, wait, yes, there was also that. And then there was also that. And then there was also that. And so it keeps bringing those things back up in their mind and encourages it to move, from short-term memory to long-term memory and for them to really absorb it. So I love that about the narration books is the amount of information that they are able to, pull from their learning and then tell me about. So it's been really fascinating for me as their parent and teacher to look at this and see what is it that they were most excited about learning, because it really does give me an indication there. If they are writing 3 paragraphs about one particular topic, that tells me that there's a fascination there with that topic. And hey, maybe we want to go ahead and go down the rabbit hole and explore that topic a little bit further. So teach back, it's just an amazing method of seeing what it is your students learning and encouraging and reinforcing those things. Now, I mentioned that each of my kids did have to keep a narration journal this year for 1 course each. Now, next year, I do intend to have them do the same thing again. Each will be taking 2 different literature-based courses from Guest Hollow, and I really want to include narration journals for them to do. Again, it's been a great way to see what it is they're learning, what sort of things are capturing their attention. I will probably do a few more directed prompts, maybe 1 or 2 a week, but I will largely let them teach back to me what it is that they found most interesting and what it is that they were absorbing. That really helped direct us this year as far as what types of things we could dig into more or study for a little extra time based on their interest level. So hopefully this gives you a few ideas on how you might want to incorporate narration or narration journals in your own homeschool. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And again, consider subscribing down below to my channel so you can follow along when we post new homeschooling and mom life videos. Thanks again, everybody. Happy homeschooling.